Hello, and welcome to another wonderful practical episode of Learning with Jerome, the podcast where we both learn about how to build a business, invest, and ultimately a magnificent life with incomplete information and incomplete understanding. Yes, I'm talking about entity system that thrive by capitalizing and using disorder cluster such as mistakes, errors, time, the unknown, uncertainty has fuel for improvement. I am your host Jerome Gassa from optionalityprofit.com. I have another exciting, insightful, practical episode to share with you. After all, a little bit of agitation gives motivation to the soul, and what really makes the species prosper is not peace so much as freedom. And from the same line, my mentor, the magnificent and best risk analyst alive today, Nassim Nicholas Taleb, put it best this way: this is one life's packages. There is no freedom without noise and no stability without volatility. Welcome to you, guys. Life is not about getting predictions right. It is about knowing how to navigate the environment and controlling it. How? False causality. Consider the following surprising headline: the employee's motivation leads to higher corporate profit. What about maybe people are only motivated because the company is doing well? Or what about highly motivated workers working in a business doing poorly? This is an example of false causality. Now, let me give you a second example. What about female in advertising cosmetic? And thus, many females consumers believe firmly that these products make you beautiful. Well, what about those who do not use cosmetic and are still crowned beauty queens? All what I'm saying is, it is not about these products that make you beautiful. Quite simple. Models are born attractive, and only for this reason they are candidate for cosmetic advertising or cosmetic industry. Hence, beauty is a factor of selection, meaning natural selection, and not result. This is a second example of false causality. By the way, without this illusion, half of advertising campaign will not work. And this is fundamentally true. Now, let me consider a third example to show you in a nutshell false causality. Hence, basically, false prediction. Among many traits that multimillionaires have in common, such as great appetite to risk, they work hard. Well, is that really true? Take a look at the symmetry of bankruptcy. You realize that the bankrupt people share certain trait, which are the same attribute, namely, they have a great appetite to risk and they work hard. As I said before, this is in a nutshell another example of false causality, right? Okay, after all, bankrupt people don't write memoir. That's the reason why you will never see out there any book about bankrupt people, and no editor, nobody is even going to buy that book, when in reality there is more gold, more precept, more to learn from the failure than from the winners. As I said way back in one of our episode, history is written by the winners, the visible, the salient. right? Okay. The kernel point of my thought is we have to be careful on things on which we can make inference and on things on which we can't. We tend to make the mistake of overestimating our ability to find cause and effect, which has the direct consequence that cognitively we like to have causes which give us the illusion of understanding the world. That's the reason why you see in self-help books, there are countless of books out there that will be read how to become a multimillionaire, how to become this, how to be happy, and how to be that. But you will never see the symmetry or people who did, meaning who shared the same trait, did the same thing and end up in the graveyard. Basically, in the symmetry, right? Keep in mind, we live long by not dying. This is fundamental, right? And in another word, what I'm just trying to say here is that positive knowledge is transitory. Yes, positive knowledge of the world is transitory and continuously revised, whereas wisdom doesn't change. And optionality profit is built around it. But let me not digress and stay on the subject. Today we simultaneously inhabit two systems, namely the predictable, which is the linear, and the unpredictable, which is non-linear, or if you want, the complex. The problem lies in the fact that we tend to conflate one environment for another. By the way, for those of you who haven't listened to the episode about if someone try to trick you with evidence-based analysis, show him the story of the turkey. I will encourage you first and foremost to go and listen that and even watch it. And the second episode that I will encourage you to have has ground material will be also to listen to the episode about, are you victim of the bed of Procrustes? And the third is via negativa. Now, if you just listen to these 3 episodes, you have a solid ground, a solid foundation. I would even say a robust foundation upon which you continue to go through different episodes that we will be releasing and the ones that has been already released, because this will plug everything together and you have a clear picture, a clear roadmap of how optionality profit is built. By the way, optionality is basically counterfactualing the narrative, meaning the well said, the well, what people paint in front of you, and you become what we call victim of confirmation bias. I would recommend you also to listen to the episode about the confirmation bias, which is nothing more than taking seriously what you see and not taking seriously what you don't see. And one more thing that I would like to remind you, we humans, we favor the visible, the tangible, the well narrated, and we scorn the abstract. And we are here to debunk all that and put you on track, since we are living in a world that has become more complex, and we call that has become more complex. We call this the complex world, the extremistan. And the second one is mediocristan, where people tend to mistake the extremistan for the mediocristan. And what also people tend to I would say maybe just forget it, or is not part of their consciousness, especially most expert out there, consultant out there, decision makers out there, they tend to mistake absence of evidence with evidence of absence. Keep in mind, we live in a world that has become very, 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 I underline, very complex. Hence, a huge increase of unpredictability, which has as direct consequence what? There is a lot of errors. And since we are in an environment where we can make errors, we are also in an environment where we can benefit from those errors. As Jeff Bezos put it this way: if you take all failure, mistake, or errors, I'm paraphrasing him, from a process, innovation ceases. Hence, error and innovation are twin. Obviously, if you know already beforehand what is the result of an experiment, it's no more an experiment. Hence, it's nothing more than doing the same thing all the time till one day you blows up. Remember, randomness doesn't look random. Please just check all these episodes that I recommended to go through. You will have a clear picture. Don't be a turkey, be a butcher. Now, here are the 3 big ideas to retain from this episode. First and foremost, always do counterfactual, which allowed you not to fall victim of the confirmation bias and even debunk it. That's the first thing. Second thing, always simulate not to see what will happen, but what may happen. And lastly, which is even linked to the second one, finally, switch from predictive method to non-predictive methods. Stop trying to understand the world and focus on robustness by avoiding fragility. Keep in mind this: nature has been here for billions of years. Nature doesn't focus on prediction. You know what nature does? It focuses on robustness. Just take a practical example about yourself. You have 2 kidneys. Do you really need 2 to function? You can function with only 1. But why do we have a second one? It is in a sense to have a backup, in a sense where if you don't need to predict what will happen, because when you rely on only one tool, you have to know perfectly exactly what is out there, which means you become dependent of external things. And therefore, since by definition you cannot predict, since we are living in a world that has become more and more and more complex and things are changing all the time, you fall prey of any type out there. An example can be you invest in tremendous a lot of programs out there that are basically painting narrative, showing you the salient, the winner, and you go through life believing that you are going to get the ultimate result that you wanted from the program, and you kept spending your hard earning and end up nowhere. Right? Most experts there don't understand risk. It's not even part of their consciousness. They basically just take the visible and narrate it very well, and most people take it. Okay, thank you so much guys for being part of this tremendous journey of optionality profit, which will be releasing the first program by the 20th of February. We will be glad for you to be part of how to build a robust business, meaning how to make decisions under incomplete information and incomplete understanding, and how to build a system where mistakes can occur without threatening a system, and use as fuel for improvement. Thank you guys. You are a magnificent.